Georgia State Election Board voting to force counties to hand count all ballots cast on Election Day. Now, this is a move that some say could delay the reporting of the results in the battleground state of Georgia. The new rule, which was passed on a 3-2 vote, runs counter to extensive legal advice from the top election officials and law enforcement officials in the state. Critics argue that requiring hand counting, in addition to a machine count, could introduce errors and confusion into the process and potentially disrupt the custody of ballots. And to start hand counting on election night, poll workers would likely have to break open the seals on boxes and completed ballots, possibly exposing the ballots to fraud or loss. Let's go and bring in Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes here. Legal or not to do this short distance out from the election?
If you're a Democrat, you're saying not legal at all. I mean, they've got a lot of crazy things happening right now in the state of Georgia. I mean, this is on the heels of some other rules that they implemented. This same exact board implemented most recently, and the Democrats sued, saying that election officials on the local level had to do a good faith inquiry in effort to ensure that the votes were accurate before they certified. Democrats challenged and said there's nothing in our state constitution that says that. We're confused on how we got here. So now they piggyback that most recent change with this one that's coming right here. And as you mentioned, the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, both who are Republicans, said this is no need to do this. There's absolutely no rationale in or reason. And as you mentioned in the open, opens the door for chaos, confusion, and utter disregard for the rules in the state of Georgia.
And is that why they want to do this? Because if you're looking at one of the reasons moving forward, if you're not able to certify an election from a state, what happens? I
mean, think about the claim that was bought by Atlanta and Fulton County, Fonnie Willis and their team. They said that part of the process,
11,700
right,
votes.
Find me some new votes is what he talked about when he talked to the Secretary of State on the phone specifically. So they brought that claim saying part of the process, part of their RICO theory was that the non-certification of the election in Atlanta or in the state of Georgia would slow the process and go into their overall scheme of making sure the election slowed down. What I can tell you is this is definitely a different direction than I think the folks in the state. I listened to the hearings. I listened to the open session that they had, and they had elected officials on each county level appear, and most of them were confused. I mean, it got very contentious in that room. And one of the people that was in the room, he said something that I thought was very, very interesting. He said, you try to be a person that's worked these polls for 14, 15 hours and then have to go back and hand count the ballots.
Again.
Everyone in the hand, it stood up, started clapping. I mean, this seemed to be out of left field, something that the Democrats were not ready for, and so now they will be bringing in lawsuits. They've already been trained. That's what they mentioned in the room, that the people that are supposed to be there working that day have already been trained. So now you're going to go ask us to retrain these people. Again, opens the door for confusion, and I'm not sure if that's the rationale. I listened to a number of folks that support this measure, and they said it will be clear, it will bring clarity, it will bring transparency, it will allow our elections to ensure that they are being accurately done. But I think there was a better way to do it, and it probably could have been done before 4 to 5 weeks before the election.
Yeah, in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, they did this in 2020. They hand counted the ballots several times in Fulton County.
Multiple times, but that's only if there's an error, only if there's an issue, and something that's not required. In this situation, they're saying you are going to have to do it before you can send them off. I mean, and I listened to the Secretary of State said that's going to make election night turn into something that we've never seen in our state. You're talking about hours on top of hours of a delay. So if you're looking for a place to watch in the middle of the night on election night, it's probably going to be the state of Georgia, because their ballot numbers aren't going to come in at probably to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Get your popcorn or
be ready,
or something else. It's going to be 2 o'clock at night. All right. Thank you, Khalif.